Other things then. Torghast scoring system change. Because this is really quite interesting.
Before we go there, I will say everyone in chat is saying it, so I will correct you. It's Morales, not Morals.
Oh, I know that's
okay.
Okay, that's
that
that's messing around in the same way that I was about to say Jack Frags. No, Jack Films says Spider Boy.
Okay.
It was whenever I just noticed, like, oh my god, this is Spider-Man, so it is like narratively Moral Tales the game.
Yeah.
And away we go.
Just whoosh like.
No, it's not funny. I don't deserve any laughs at all for that.
As long as you admit that, I don't have to tell you.
Man. So yes, right. Torghast scoring system changes. Let's get into this shit.
Yep.
Right.
Here's
I guess
TLDR.
the way to explain what's currently there is do shit in Torghast, bar goes up. Stop doing shit, slow down, bar goes down. If you get the bar to a certain little spot, then you basically activate a streak, which puts you into empowered mode, which by default really doesn't do that much, but the box of many things upgrades what your empowered mode does. So the benefit there is, you can get a streak going, you can play fast, and be like, oh wow, look at me go. I managed to stay in streak for the entire run. Problem though, you're always looking at that streak bar thinking, oh, it's about to go. So even though it wasn't a hard timer, it did make Torghast feel like a speed run.
Yes.
And it was that thing where, multiple things in Torghast contribute to your score, and you find out at the end what they are. But if while in the middle of a run, the only UI element that you can see that talks or has any relevance to your score is a bar that always ticks down, then almost regardless of how much that bar impacts your score, you're going to feel that bar and feel like a timer mode. So that's what it was like. How has it changed?
The empowered bar no longer decays with time. That's the biggest change, where instead of this bar of doom, the reverse bar of doom scrolling down, where the bar of salvation is decaying slowly, it's just, it goes up and it doesn't go down anymore, which is fantastic. It is now basically just a special meter. So you fill it up, and then I haven't actually seen it in game, so I imagine it looks very nice, all beautifully UX'd. So I imagine once you get above a certain marker on the bar, you can hit the button, hit the go fast me big button, or the empowered buff, I believe they're currently calling it, its proper name. So you fill this bar up, you can activate this empowered buff. The more the bar is full above the threshold, the longer it'll last. So you kind of have the option of, do I pop it early, or do I, do I bank more before I activate it? This buff will give you a bunch of combat bonuses and other stuff from the box of many things from your Torghast talent tree. And everything you do while empowered grants you bonus score. And I don't think it's direct bonus score, but it's bonus score through a different kind of modifier. So it is a design that's going, right, get as big as you can, and then when you're big, go on this not literal streak, but kind of streak thing, where it's the equivalent of, I've just popped wings, I'm going to pull everything in the room.
Just that it's score attack.
But it's score attack
and
style.
That's just made me realize. I mean, I've never played a roguelite I've played roguelites that have got score in them as an element, but I've never played ones where they feel like a score attack thing. I guess this feels like a score attack thing now.
No, because the fundamental point of roguelites and roguelikes, unless you're playing something like Dead Cells where there is a timer element.
Yeah.
So I've not really played too many of them with a timer element. It is a case of the thing that's barring your time is your ability to actually play the game in that time. But you kind of have your own decision to make. Do you want to clear everything really nicely and follow everything, or do you want to just kind of go quickly through it? It's kind of because I'm going to talk about Enter the Gungeon, because that's the one I'm thinking of a lot. I should probably talk about Returnal, but it's actually a fairly bad roguelite, but we'll get into that later, if at all. But I mean, me and you not stream. I'm not going to talk about Returnal on stream.
Oh, yeah.
But Enter the Gungeon, you can go fast. You can just find the exit on every floor. But the problem is that's going to leave you weak. Because the point is you gain power by going, you kill all the enemies for as much money as you can grab. You spend that money at the shop for keys, you open chests, or you spend it at the shop for other things, for guns, etc., etc. And then you have more guns, you have stronger guns, you go down the next floor, and if you clear everything, you're more powerful. Same with Torghast. You get more anima power for clearing everything, and then you're stronger as you go. And that's kind of the point of it all. So it feels like the score element that kind of adds this timer bit to you just feels it feels like it doesn't belong in those games because I've never seen
Yeah.
it in any of those games. And I'm like, why are you trying to add to a formula that's already fixed?
There's a whole bit of me that just thinks that like you could remove
Yeah.
that. Basically, it's like this is a failed experiment, and it would
Yeah.
probably be easier just to remove the entire little empowered bar thing and just be like, hey, it's roguelike content. You go up tower, have fun, done.
Yeah.
It feels like, honestly, to me, it feels a bit try hard and over designed. Where I feel like if the fundamentals of the experience
Yeah.
got more design work instead of sort of bolt on things like this, it would be better. That said, this is way better than the previous bar that's always going down, so you always feel like you got a speed run. Totally better. Though I think there will be some people who'll be stressed about like, when's the right time to use my empowerment buff? What if I do it wrong? And then I'm wondering like to what degree, sometimes that happens in a game and it's good gameplay, it's interesting decision making. Sometimes it's like just an unwanted burden on top of the type of game you're trying to play. And I think it's just hard because basically nobody knows what Torghast should be. We all have ideas of what it should be, but it's kind of like a weird halfway house between all of them at this stage that they're like trying to get to work via the score system. And it's a bit odd.
It's weird because I feel like I could enjoy it, but at the same time I'm thinking it's so fragile to base a lot of that on, because I imagine by design they'll make this an important part of scoring. Like they did previously, where I believe Dakar actually says here in his note, with his little thinking emoji, it was you needed to go extremely fast and also collect everything and kill everything to get 5 gems. So if 5 gems is perfection in the speed level, then I guess it's the idea of you'll have to use this really well to actually get that score. And I think that's okay, but it still jams you into this kind of, you're not allowed to stop and take a moment like you are in every other roguelike kind of game.
It feels like this is the sort of thing that would be like the quirk of an optional character in a roguelite.
Sort of, yeah.
Like, imagine in Binding of Isaac, like you play as another character and it's like the streak character.
Yeah.
Not that that is a thing in Isaac, but it almost feels like that more than something that's like the sort of core base experience of a game in this genre. So bizarre, certainly moving in the right direction, but bizarre.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing where I could talk about the positive and negatives of the design all day, but it is fundamentally like, I'd rather you spent more time focusing on the core gameplay of Torghast and making that better. But I can get how that's limited because it's such a one size fits all system. So
it's like,
fair enough, like,
they're kind of designing like systems and buffs and powers and upgrades and progression to make clearing a bunch of trash feel more fun.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe what we'd care about more is how do you make clearing a bunch of trash and stuff feel more fun by actually making like the trash, the layout, the like room mechanics and stuff like that more fun.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the challenge with Torghast being a roguelite that's been put into WoW and then has been made basically not a roguelite. So it's now this weird thing that seemingly has got multiple goals.
Yeah.
Sometimes those goals aren't even at odds with each other. It's weird.
I feel awkward trying to be overtly negative about it at times because it's like, they're trying their best. They're trying their best.
They are trying their best. I think it's just a problem of they're trying their best and it's not enough.
Yep. That's it.
And that's going to suck. Because if this is them giving it all, giving this their all, but it's clearly not enough, then the rest of the market's going to be able to hurt them.
Yeah,
they have to do things so that their best is more than enough.
Yep. Like speaking of the other market, this is something I want to talk. Maybe I'll get to it in our Alpha 14 segment if we can get to that. But it's definitely there's a mechanical thing about World of Warcraft that I think is kind of putting all these problems on their plate. But I guess someone's asking in chat what is roguelike. I'll give a brief explainer. There's a game, and I think it was called 1980, called Rogue.
Yeah. It
was a dungeon crawler, and when you died, that was it. I mean, most games are kind of like that. But it was a dungeon crawler. It was like this deep thing where you had lots to do, and it was different every time.
Yeah.
So instead of you die in Super Mario Bros, same thing. Rogue was like, no, it's different now. Procedural generation, like one of the first popular versions of it, essentially. So games adopted roguelike if they were like Rogue, in that you died, complete reset, go in again. It's different this time.
Yeah.
And then there's Rogue Lite, which is a lighter version of Rogue, which is you die, it's different next time, but not everything is reset. you have some progression carried over. It's sort of like, Torghast is a rogue light because you go in, you get some of the, I can't even remember what they're called now, some of the stuff for the box of many things.
Tower knowledge?
Yeah, tower knowledge.
Yeah.
You go in, you get tower knowledge, you're stronger next time you go in. That's what that is.
Yeah, that basically, if you got is the correct word? Intra run progression?
Well, it'd be
Inter.
No, it'd be extra run progression.
Sure.
It'd be outside of the run.
Yeah. So if you got progression outside of runs that runs feed into, then basically you are a light, not a like.
Yes.
It's kind of the definition there.
Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, there you go. That's that for Torghast. Scoring system's changing. At the end of the day, though, you're just going in there for Soul Cinders. That's how it's going to be. Maybe 9.2 will make the twisting corridors better, and then maybe the version of Torghast that I think we would prefer, maybe that will exist, or maybe it won't. Either way, we'll just move on, I suppose.